everyone has this situation. And I don't know what your situation is. What do you do? Do you fight? Do you flee? Do you freeze? All those situations when you experience some danger. But we have a resiliency that we don't want to admit, but push comes to shove, we will respond in a resilient way. That's why people are living longer. That's why people don't want to die, because there's a finality of dying.
Once you got the heart, and there's a release date approaching at some point, how does all of this impact your ability to go home, your normal routines? I guess you had to relearn new routines. I mean, what happened? Take us forward from there.
Yeah. So, before I've been sick for 16 years, but I got the heart 2 years ago. So that was kind of like the, getting the heart versus not getting the heart. So I was dealing with the defibrillator. It really didn't affect my lifestyle as much as you think, because you get shocked and you go to the hospital and then they check you out and then they send you home. So, getting the heart was, what is my routine? My routine was, I didn't have a routine. My routine, what I used to do, when you have kids, you have a routine, then you have routines with, rituals, holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. There's rituals. Then you've got routines. What do you do every single day? What do you do on the weekends? For me, I kind of like help my wife with the house. So I do certain, chores. I vacuum. I do, we have a fountain. I mean, I do certain routines, and you don't even think about those routines because they're your routines. I couldn't do anything. Right? All I could do is to take care of myself, and then, my wife was taking care of me too, and so the routines were out of, it was a new routine. It was a new routine. So it's a routine about sickness. And then you have to kind of be optimistic. The 30 days I was in the hospital, I went through lots of depression. You have these who needs me, self-doubts. What happens if I don't get the heart? How long can I survive in the hospital? I don't want to be the guy who is there in the hospital who's 6'7" for 6 months. I don't want to be that guy. But you want to, be optimistic, but at the same time, there's these negative thoughts that creep in, suicidal thoughts. Who gives a crap if I survive or not? Do I really care? I mean, people will just say, I knew this guy had a heart transplant, he died. It's like, you're gonna be that guy. So again, when we started the show, and we talk about the heart transplant, I wanted to be the guy who knew a person who had a heart transplant. I don't want to be that guy, but I am that guy. And you know what? It redefined who I am. It redefined who, my new purpose in life. So it's a weird, life is the vicissitudes of the ups and downs of life. And this is my journey. And, the journey ends, but at the same time, I have to kind of like make the most of what I'm capable of doing. And that is kind of, for me, giving back to strangers, giving, I'm the guy when I walk and a dog poops on the pavement, I'm the guy that has a bag and picked up the poop. I don't care who it is, because if I go through the neighborhood every day, I'm going to ultimately walk on that poop. So why don't I pick it up? I'm not waiting for someone to do it. So I'm that guy, and so I just wanted to, get out of the funk, and because, even exercise was so hard and painful to do anything. And it's like, am I gonna, you don't see the future, you just see the now. And the now was, how am I going to get through this? How am I going to get through this? And, being optimistic, the title of your show and your attitude, and which I love, of the eternal optimistic. And you know what? Being optimistic, you live longer. If you Google it, you can find statistics that you're going to live anywhere from 10 to 15% longer being optimistic, being confident. Pessimistic people, I have a difficult time dealing with people who the sky is falling. Well, the sky falls, and what happens tomorrow? I'm that guy who's thinking about tomorrow and dealing with today. So I want to be optimistic, and it took a toll on me to be optimistic.
What do you mean by that? It took the toll on you to be optimistic.
I mean, you get all these bad test results. You get all these negative things that, I've never, rarely a doctor comes into your room or a cardiologist like, hey, I got good news for you. They usually come in and say like, oh, I got some, they euphemistically like, well, it's good news, bad news. It's like 99% it's bad news, right? So it's like, how do you spin it in a way that is good news? So, I feel like, you have to be optimistic. And I have a philosophy that I want to share with you. And I feel I am rigorously optimistic, not optimist. I'm not eternally optimistic. It's hard work to be optimistic. So it's rigorous optimism. And then I've got the 3 R's. Then I also have being flexible, but it's not always flexible. It's rugged flexibility. So I have rigorous optimism, rugged flexibility, and then you have to live a resilient life and a resilient health life. Your health and creates resilience. And everyone, if they have a situation, and everyone has this situation, and I don't know what your situation is, what do you do? Do you fight? Do you flee? Do you freeze? All those situations when you experience some danger. But
yes.
We have a resiliency that we don't want to admit, but push comes to shove, we will respond in a resilient way. That's why people are living longer. That's why people don't want to die, because there's a finality of dying, right? You don't wake up tomorrow. And my mother is 90 years old. I don't know what her plans are for the future, but the fact is, people don't want to die. And I'm not there yet, but that indicates to me that we have a resiliency to live beyond, we just want to keep going.